Hello, I'm gonna make a little video. Well, I made a little video of how I edit my film photos. So these are the photos that I chose, and I have them open in Lightroom. And first, I'm just doing a little straightening and cropping, which is I always do that first in Lightroom. Sometimes I make horizontal photos vertical. I hardly ever go the other way, but do that. I just, crop in a little bit, straighten things out. Sometimes I don't really do much, but I usually always tweak them a little bit, but it's not always a huge adjustment. And now I go through and I kind of add a little contrast and darken the blacks. And I just find that that's always a little more flattering, especially sometimes film photos can be scanned and look a little bit flat. So I feel like it always helps to add some contrast. And so that's what I'm doing here. And this one, I guess I changed the crop again. Okay, this photo, I definitely, probably out of this batch, one that I had the most to edit on it, I guess. It was very dark in the front and a little bit underexposed towards the back, so I just had to even it out, because it was lit a little bit differently than how I usually light things. So I had to kind of go in. I started in Lightroom, and then you'll see later I go in Photoshop and really go in. But yeah, I was just kind of using a brush to, not kind of, I was using a brush to isolate the area in the front that was really dark, because I wanted to see more definition. It took some trial and error. It would get a little bit too bright, towards her legs a little bit, where I'm right there, but eventually yeah, I think had a little more control in Photoshop. That's not my favorite thing to do in Lightroom, but I usually do try, just because I have it open. This one's a Polaroid. I wanted to include all the different kinds of film that I use. So I have 35, medium format, and some Polaroids. No digital. I can do a digital video like this if people want to see it. I don't edit that much. I don't shoot that much digitally, but it's definitely a more intense, not intense, but it's a more, there's more to my editing process. This photo, yeah, okay, so that was the last one. Now I'm opening them in Photoshop. And when I open them in Photoshop, usually I'll open a whole bunch of photos. I don't know how other people do it. If you use quick commands, you're gonna hate me, because I don't. I just click on everything. So usually when I'm editing, the first thing I do is I'll just start with the first thing that catches my eye. And these little chips at the bottom of this couch, it's a vintage couch, so it's not, it was not new, but so I had a little bit of little flaws, so I wanted to get those out, because for me, I just saw them right away, and maybe other people wouldn't, but it would bother me. And then the bottom of this couch was a little bit saggy, so you could see that it's broken a little bit, so I wanted to try to hide that. So I was did a little dodging and burning. And then yeah, so I sped this part up because it's kind of, you get it, but I just used the patch tool to sort of kind of disguise it a little bit, trying to blend it in with the shadow, which I think looks fine. Also, by the way, all the photos I kind of chose them at random, so they're not the best photos. They're kind of outtakes of other. This is another thing that my eye was drawn to, so I just edited it out. But yeah, my eye, I didn't really choose the best photos. I kind of went by exposure if that makes sense. I didn't really look at people's faces, so like, you'll kind of see their faces are like some people are blinking and stuff. I just really wanted to get different lighting scenarios and like different film. I just went by like, I just kind of went through my Lightroom library and picked stuff out that I thought would be interesting to watch me edit. So I always go in on people's face. I don't edit a lot of people. I don't like, I'm not going to liquefy anyone's facial features, but I like to, soften like under eye circles or like get rid of a pimple or like do a little dodging and burning, stuff that you could do with makeup, stuff that you could do in like a darkroom setting. I think all my editing, like the way that I edit is very much, I learned how to shoot film photography like in a darkroom in high school and college. So that was like my way I learned how to do all this stuff. So, because I'm old, but yeah. So I don't do anything that's like too, I'm not gonna liquefy someone's face. I'm not gonna do that kind of thing. I just like to dodge and burn, like, add a little definition. Okay, so this one was definitely like challenging to edit when I was editing this batch of photos like originally. So I wanted to include this one, but you'll see. So I add a little more contrast with curves, and then because I needed it in the background, but I wanted to like do a layer mask and obviously brighten her up a little bit because the curves were very dark. But I wanted a dark background and have her be like softly lit. So that's what I'm doing here, and it took a little bit of back and forth. I'm really obsessed with layer masks. Everyone should use them. If you don't, okay, so then, just going in and going in on the background. This photo isn't like the ideal sort of like when I do this technique with the Christmas lights in the background. It didn't come out as great as how it is in the past, but it's okay because I was able to edit it, and you'll see how I did that. And then she had some bruises on her legs, which I always have bruises on my legs, and I totally know how it is. And normally stuff like this, I don't usually edit out bruises, but this was for a brand, so I just wanted it to look fairly clean. So I just alternated between patch tool and clone stamp, maybe a little bit of the healing brush, but I don't know if I really used it that much at all, to be honest. I prefer the patch tool. So yeah, I was just like trying to go in and get rid of all the bruises, make them, smooth it out a little bit. The ones near her ankles were like a little more challenging. You'll see those in a minute. Because it's kind of like, on your ankle you have a little more like shadow anyway where your bone is, so I didn't want to like make it look too smooth, so I kind of had to like balance between bruise and just normal like structure of your body. And then I did like a little clone. But yeah, it's starting to look better. More clone stamp. This kind of went on for a while, so but you'll see the whole process. Patch tool, looking much better. And then there was this spot here that there was like a weird shadow, and I just like, I don't know, sometimes I get a little picky and I just like start fixing things that it's not really necessary, but for me I just do it anyway, because I don't know, that shadow was just weird to me, so I just wanted to like kind of try to like disguise it a little bit. Okay, so let's see, when am I gonna go? Okay, so then yeah, the next thing is definitely like to fix this background, which you're gonna see. I guess, yeah, I was just decided to do the face first. So yeah, going in, kind of softening under the eyes. Just because, like, I don't know, I don't really think, if you have eye circles, that's fine, but I just think sometimes in photos, like, I don't know. Okay, so yeah, eye circles cleaned up, and I did a little bit of burning. I always, like, do a little bit around the face. I kind of just go with, like, like, where you would put highlighter and contour, I just dodge and burn. And then, like, on the body, like, anywhere there's, like, a highlight, like, I'm doing it kind of on the legs, like, I'll go down the highlight of the leg, kind of burn around, like, where there's more of a shadow. And then, yeah, just cleaning up, like, the edges of this background. I don't think I finished this whole photo because it was a lot, and, like, I was really just doing this for the sake of this video. I just wanted to, like, give a little insight. It was so tedious to fix all of these wires, so I just did some of them, because I already, had to edit all of these photos before, so I was like, I'm not doing this again. But yeah, just going through. Patch tool is my best friend. And just, like, making it, look good, and not being really good at drawing a circle at all. Yeah, and it's really, like, trial and error sometimes doing this. Like, you'll see you'll know if you do this. And for me, I just kind of go in and, like, fix what bothers my eye. Like, so yeah, I just went in and, like, this part I just clone stamped, and I think I burned it in a little bit because I wanted it, like, a really dark background, like I said, with just, like, the illusion of stars. And oh yeah, I just go in and, like, turn on and off layers constantly. And I always make a duplicate of the background, which you'll see in all these photos. Even if I'm doing, like, the slightest change, I do that just so I can, like, see how it looks, because I've made that mistake before where, like, I haven't done that and then it, like, looks crazy. Okay, so yeah, sorry, no quick commands. I'm the worst. I just click on everything with my mouse. And when I'm editing, I usually just open them all and, like, randomly, like, pick which one I'm doing next. So there's no rhyme or reason. This one, there was, like, barely anything to do. I just fixed up the background, burned it in a little bit. And then, yeah, just sometimes, like, I'll fix, like, wardrobe stuff. Like, this was just, like, a little line I could see from her, like, what she had on under that suit. So I just, like, fixed that a little bit. And yeah, I think that's the only thing I really did on this photo. There wasn't that much to fix. Same kind of here. I had added more contrast, and then I just had to added more contrast in Lightroom, and then I just had to fix this little bruise. And honestly, I kind of think I got a little bit nitpicky here, and sometimes when I do that, it's like, I'll get nitpicky, and then I'm like, oh, I kind of did, like, too much. Like, I should have just left it, like, and then you start to get, like, kind of, with too much patch tool, you start to get, like, artifacts in the pixels, and I hate that, and I kind of did that here, so don't do that. And then the last thing I did is, like, I'll go in and I'll just kind of dodge where the bruises were, just to, like, even out the tone, because, like, it'll still be a little bit darker. So I just dodged it a little bit. Clone stamp, I think. No, just more patch tool. That was it for that one. That one didn't really need that much work. I liked how everything looked. Okay, this one, she was a little bit green, like, looking to me, because it was flash, and I think it kind of flashed off that bluish wall, so I kind of wanted to warm it up, and I do that with curves, as you can see. I just add, like, a little bit of green, and mess with the exposure a little bit, and then going in on the faces with, because this is flash, it's sort of you know, it's flash can be sort of hit or miss. Like these photos were sort of like a snapshot, which is why I wanted to show them against sort of my other photos that are more like intentionally lit. I mean, this was a scenario that I did light myself, but I did go in and use flash, which like I said, it can be hit or miss. Sometimes it like looks great and other times it's not my favorite photo that I took. Like I'll usually do one with flash and one without, but like I said, just wanted to show flash. Offsetting it a little bit in the exposure. I like to do that to just kind of I think it kind of softens it. Like it'll like kind of soften out the blacks, and I just like that look. And yeah, just going in a little more on curves, because I don't know, sometimes I just get a little too nitpicky. That was all I really did for that one. Okay, duplicating that layer and adding more curves. This photo isn't my favorite, and I kind of chose it randomly, and I wouldn't have chosen it. There were better ones. It's a sort of an outtake of a better photo, but I did want to challenge myself and edit it to try to make it look better. So yeah, just sort of similar to like the last one that I did like this, just burning. And clone stamping and pouch tool on the background. As you can see, I'm speeding this up for you guys so it's not boring to watch. Hopefully this video is not boring to watch, but I hope it helps someone. Patch tool. This one had a little bit less wires, so I think I kind of went in on all of them. Oh god, it's stressing me out just to like see them again. Because normally when I use this lighting, like, I guess she was just a little bit too close to the background, so they kind of like picked up, but so I know for next time. More patch tool. And I wanted to give her legs more definition because they're sort of the focal point of the picture, so I was like, I dodged and burned a little bit, and I did that curves layer before, and just messing with that a little bit more. Okay, yeah, just going, okay, here I am fixing the background yet again. I think this is probably the last little portion that I had to do, so, but it was definitely like harder because it's next to the leg, so you get a little bit, I didn't do it perfectly, but for the sake of this video, I just, you get it. So yeah, I wanted to add a little bit, wanted to make it look a little bit more magenta, since that was the color light that I had. Okay, so then here I add a gradient map. I do this sometimes just to like sort of bump up the color. So I kind of use like a purpley pink color, and then I just sort of mess with the blend mode until it looks how I want it to look. So here I went with soft light or saturation. And then I just no, I did choose soft light. I thought I did. And then yeah, I usually just go down, bring the opacity down. And then yeah, I'm just dodging a little more because I guess after adding that, it kind of like, it made it look a little darker. But overall, I think it adds just like a little something. Yeah, and then I went in and burned more because like once I added the gradient map, it brought out some purples and oranges like in the background. So I went in and I burned that in a little bit more as well. Okay. So polaroid. Oh no, I didn't want to do the polaroid. So we did this one. Also, sorry, I think I kind of picked a little bit too many photos, but just, get a little bit of everything. So this one definitely like was a challenge. It was very dark. The color was very red. So I just went in with curves until I kind of liked what it was looking like. Yeah. And so that's kind of, yeah. And sort of try to make it look like how I remember it looking when I shot it. And then I added a little bit of contrast here, but I think I brought it down. Yeah, brought it back down. And that's sort of, yeah. That one was, okay. And then I went in the background. I don't remember what I dodged her a little bit. And she's like the focal point of the picture. I tried to burn this in. I don't think it really helped, but I tried. And yeah. And yeah, exposure, adding a little, brightening it up and offsetting a little bit just to like soften it. I can't really explain what that does, but it does something for me. And then I wanted to get rid of these little dusts. Okay, so here I am on this Polaroid. I added some curves, and I really wanted to bump up the red, and then bumped up the red on the tablecloth, so I went in and just did a layer mask to isolate the part that I wanted to look red, and I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah, sorry. It's a little bit tedious, so going in, making sure I get all those little spots, you know, going in with the brush, different sizes, and just making sure it's like not bleeding over onto like any parts that it shouldn't be. I left it on the glass as well, just on the liquid part, because I thought it looked nice. You know, I didn't expect to like the way it looked, and then I did, so I just left it. And then, yeah, so then I'm gonna, Polaroids usually have a lot more dust because I'm just scanning them on a flatbed. So I went in and I got some dust. I didn't do all of it for this video because honestly it could be here all day. When I edited this video, this picture, like when I actually did it, because this is the second time, just doing it for the video, I had gone in and like I got all the wrinkles out of the tablecloth, and it took a long time, so I didn't do it here, but I kind of gave you guys the gist of what I would do, just going in on like little hairs. Like no matter how much I clean my flatbed, I just feel like I get still dust and hair, and yeah, just going in like wherever I can see it. I usually just kind of like, sometimes I'll just zoom in and like scroll the whole thing until everything's gone, and sometimes I just kind of go in and like see what's really standing out for me. Getting this big ugly hair out of the way. Is that a hair? I don't even know. It could be a scratch on the Polaroid. That's another thing. Polaroids get scratched, so they're kind of a pain. I never get them scanned like professionally. I just do it myself. So I have a flatbed scanner. Oh, that's another thing. I don't scan my own film. I've tried in the past, and it's just not for me. I would rather just have someone else do it. If I can learn how to do it, I'll do it, but I'm just so bad at it. Okay, so this photo, I don't think I really did too much. I changed the curves a little bit. And then I tried to burn this wall in, and I did it way too much. It's like so dark. So I was like, nope. And then I had to kind of undo that. And yeah, I turned the exposure down on that and burned it a little bit less. Some curves. So I just wanted to like warm it. And yeah, not a whole much on that one. Okay, so yeah, this one definitely didn't need really that much at all. Just burn in the background. Love when I get an image and it looks like this and I don't have to really do that much. Just got rid of a couple things. You know, like I said before, softening under eyes. Never want it to look unnaturally smooth. You know, I don't know. I don't really like when I can tell that something's photoshopped. And then there was this stray hair that I got rid of. This is her tattoo. So I realized that and I left it because, you know, but it was right next to the hair that I got rid of. And then yeah, another stray hair. Sometimes when images are like easy like this, then I go in too hard and like start getting rid of things. So I feel like I kind of did that here, but and then yeah, I just take the dodge tool and I like to very subtly dodge on all the highlights on someone's body. Just because, I don't know, I think it adds a little more dynamic look. Makes everything look a little more contrasty and cool. Yeah, all done. That was an easy one. Love that. Really no color to change. This one, on the other hand, this is probably one that I was dreading doing because I knew there was a lot more to be done, and like, yeah, so I left it for last, of course, because, you know, I just was not looking forward to it. It didn't really end up being that crazy, but yeah. So yeah, I went in with curves. The red lighting I kind of left because, you know, it was like that doorway had that red light, so I didn't want to like get rid of it. But it did look a little red, so I took it down a little bit. And then yeah, I just did dodge and burn this carpet. Really needed, it was just overexposed or underexposed, so I did what I couldn't do in Lightroom, or like I'm sure you can do it in Lightroom. I just prefer Photoshop, you know, for certain things. And then yeah, just doing my little patch tool over here. And okay, so this part I did her under eyes, but then I ended up, you'll see, I did it way too much. Yeah, that no. I brought it down a little bit and I had to dodge. And I always, yeah, I'll just dodge. Like, I was having some trouble with this one. So I ended up burning it back in because it just like, I don't know, it was just like ended up being too much for my personal taste. Yeah. And sometimes I'll just add a little definition, like people's collarbones and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, and then I kind of was like, you know, it looks a little light, so I burned under the eyes again, just to make it look better, and softening it with some offset and exposure, and that was really it. Okay, so here are the original images, and here are the final images. Hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what you think, and maybe I'll do another one. Bye.